that was the reality of it, of this is getting very, very real.
Debbie Stiesmeyer always knew she wanted to be a police officer.
My parents always said, no, you're not going to do that job. It's too dangerous.
But Stiesmeyer didn't listen. She became a San Diego sheriff's deputy and was 8 years into a successful career. Then, in April 2021, she transferred to the Poway station as a detective. Her new supervisor was Sergeant Sean Silva. On her first day, he stopped by her cubicle and looked at pictures of her family and friends.
He sat down, he looked around, and he said, "Where's the picture of your boyfriend?" And I was very taken aback by that comment. And I thought it was highly inappropriate. And I just quickly said, "I don't have a boyfriend." And then he said, "Well, if you don't have a boyfriend, you must be a lesbian."
It was the beginning of a hellish 3 months. The harassment was constant, Stiesmeyer said in interviews with KPBS and a lawsuit. Nearly every day, Silva commented on her body, her relationship status, her sexuality. She was just one of Silva's targets. The department interviewed dozens of people, most of them Silva's employees, for an internal affairs report. They all either experienced or witnessed, quote, sexual harassment, discrimination, targeting, and inappropriate racial remarks. Silva retired before he was punished and was allowed to keep his full pension. His attorney didn't respond to requests for comment.
The culture itself is really dominated by masculine values.
Ellen Kirschman is a clinical psychologist who treats police. She says many departments allow sexism and toxic masculinity to flourish.
The emphasis on the physicality sometimes will cause smaller men and women to be held to different standards.
Stacy Ralph also worked as a detective in the Poway station. In interviews and a lawsuit, she says the same things as Stiesmeyer. The harassment from Silva went on and on.
If I would have just written down every inappropriate thing that he said, I would have never got my work done. I would just be so stressed, or I would just be like, okay, what is it going to bring today? I mean, I would put my headphones on and pretend I was listening to something in hopes that he would just continue by my cue.
No one from the sheriff's department would do an interview for this story. A spokesperson sent a statement. "We hold all of our employees to the highest standards and require our staff to treat everyone with dignity, respect, and compassion," the statement said. Kirschman says it's common for officers to not report harassment they're experiencing.
Very often, if you report it, nothing happens. And that's even worse, because then you have sort of jeopardized yourself, put yourself out there for some retaliation, and for what good did it do you, because nothing happened.
Ralph and Stiesmeyer say that's exactly what happened. They say they were blacklisted and faced retaliation. Finally, they couldn't take it anymore. Both walked away from what had once been their dream jobs. Now Stiesmeyer works as a server in the gas lamp. She says her experience shows why more people in law enforcement don't report.
I mean, I walked away from essentially a $130,000 a year career. I wasn't vested, so I don't get a pension. I had a work take-home car. I left that to nothing. I had nothing lined up. That's how bad and desperate I was to get out of there. And I think a lot of people aren't in that situation, or they might be single moms, or they're the primary caretaker and income, and they can't just walk away. I lost all my insurance, and I lost my career. So it's hard to report that. And because there is the stigma that you're the snitch, and then you're essentially blacklisted for the rest of your career.
Meanwhile, Silva's pension pays him nearly $6,000 a month. Claire Trageser, KPBS News.